Hello, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. Welcome to Game 3, Pickles and Beer versus LifeReboot of our uh, SGLive Online 2022. And this race is about to get started. If you haven't seen the flags before, they're very straightforward flags, sort of low power level at the beginning flags. And our racers are about to start any second now. So our draft went, we had multiple fighters, thieves, and red mages and black mages. Both teams ending up on the same party here, it looks like. This is a very solid party. You'll get access to most of the magic in the game, aside from maybe a couple white magic spells. And you'll get every black magic spell in the game. So looking at early spells here, we have the only sweeper being Bane, which is an AoE poison instant death spell. Which is decent if you know how to use it, but there's a lot of things that will just resist poison, like the undead, which we'll find in the first half of Temple of Fiends here. A couple good starting items. Some wood armor +4, which most of the party can equip, which is very good, and a couple weapons. It looks like iron +2 will be the best weapon. That's good. Anything that the fighter can swing will increase his damage nicely. So Pickles and Beer first into Topher, and there's an ice +2. That is nearly an endgame weapon. Like, if you get some decent levels, we have all the black magics. We're definitely going to have fast and temper. Maybe a ruse stick or an invis 2 shirt or something like that, and it's possible we could just beat the game with this sword right now. It'd be an interesting decision to see if how many boxes these players open. And Pickles and Beer, Bane and Garland. See what our first incentive is. We have the loot and the canal, so no help right now. 2 locks for later in the game unlocked. So they're going to have to make the walk to the second town of the game, Provoca. LifeReboot gaining a lot of time in the post-Toph town. This is a good fight here. Ogres versus Bane. You have a pretty good chance of killing him in less than 76 hit points. It's probably good for a level, and you're always looking in the early game for money for magic. Pickles and Beer not checking shops, going straight to the pirate fight, which is a good choice. Bane will kill these guys like 95% of the time. Sometimes you'll see a lucky pirate survive 2 of them, but it's pretty rare. And the adamants. That means we are walking all the way back to Dwarf Cave. LifeReboot, losing the time he gained in shopping in the first town to a couple fights outside Provoca, but he does have more money than Pickles and Beer. Pro rings for sale in Provoca is a good thing to remember. If you're going to be playing this game opening very few boxes, it'll be nice to come back here at the end of the game and pick up a couple pieces of equipment. And spells, like Warp is a great endgame spell, but it's not going to give us a lot of help here in the early game. And I welcome to the booth Shumbabi.
Oh, hello there, Bert.
How's it going today?
It's going.
Okay, so let me fill you in. We got loot, we got Canal from the Royals, we walk over to Provoca, and we have the Adamant. Or the TNT, one of those. Yeah, the Adamant. So we're heading back to Dwarf Cave, and we're either going to get the ship or the canoe there, is my guess.
Alrighty. Trying to pull up the video here. Now we got it. Game got started a little on the early side, yeah?
Nope, right on time.
Oh, all right then.
Oh, one other thing they found, Ice Sword +2 in Toph. A potential endgame weapon. I wouldn't say it was quite good enough, but it's close.
I'm really intrigued, but did both runners decide to check those boxes in Toph?
Yes, they both checked all three. It's pretty standard, I'd say, from most players, mostly for money. Like, that's what I'm checking them for. Like, get something to sell or a little bit of money.
Did our runners incentivize an endgame weapon?
No, it was Thor Hammer and Power Staff.
All right, so that makes a lot more sense now that maybe we check those boxes. We can sneak in early Masamune, or in this case, I guess, an Ice Sword.
With a ship in Canal that actually doesn't open up much in this flag set, we're still going to have to go to Marsh Cave here unless we can find a shop item that opens something up. Like a shop rod in Elftown or even in Crescent Lake would be interesting here.
Actually just had in my race the other night, the shop item was in Crescent Lake, which was open at around the same time. And it would have been really helpful to know that, because it was the floater in my seed. So we'll see if that comes up here.
That is the nightmare scenario. I've had that happen before in seeds like this. I know it happened a couple times last year. But, yeah, you have no reason to ever go to Crescent Lake. Most people just wasted half the seed looking for the floater and never finding it.
Interesting. It looks like LifeReboot's taking this fight on the sea for a couple extra gold, while Pickles is just going straight to Marsh.
Yeah, the key was for sale in Elfland here for 35,000 gold, so he might be trying to... No, there's no way he's ever going to get gold for that from fights. Just getting a little more gold for buying spells. But
I feel like if you're going to have to double dip Elfland anyway, you might as well go into Marsh first and try to grab that money.
Yeah, with access to warp in level 2, you know Marsh Cave's going to be very quick and very easy. And I couldn't really see a spell you could find here that would change Marsh like so much. Like, unless you find Nuke in level 3 and there's a trap tile you want to take a couple times, most likely you're just going to go to Marsh, run from the trap tile, and warp out very easily.
With the extra checks that they have to do, again, because no endgame weapon, I wouldn't be surprised to see the room next to the crown room being checked, and maybe even that fourth room on the top of the bottom floor, rather.
Yeah, getting 30,000 gold here would be very nice to not have to dip Elfland again at the end of the game. Trap tile's not really one you want to fight, especially not when your only sweeper is Bane. Yeah, looking at the magic here, the only sweeper we have is Bane level 1 and Lit 3 at level 4. So these guys are going to be meleeing stuff down for quite a while here.
Can you walk me through, because I missed the party draft. I imagine Black Belt wasn't available here, or at least had a major blur thing.
It was, I believe, 2 fighters, a thief, and then a mix of red and black. Pickles and Beer gets the crown out of Marsh Cave. That opens up the Astos check here. And Bane against Astos is not likely, especially when Astos is going to casting spells here.
Yeah, these Astos fights are much harder than you'd imagine. And then, fortunately, that leads into an item that he can turn in right away. But if Astos were to have something like Crack or Zap or Bane or something that would just completely wipe out the party,
yes.
Ordeals Ordeals isn't on the table yet, right? We don't have a canoe yet.
No, this is right now a forced Astos. So we know we have Lit 3 at level 4. If we can get level 4 charges, it would be very easy to kill Astos. But we are nowhere near level 4 charges. The other spell we could use is Fast at level 4 as well, but there's no way that's happening either.
This might be one of those cases where I would check the Marsh Top from the split and just try to luck into something in those boxes too.
Yeah, Marsh Top's a good one. Fighting ogres, trying to find some gray ogres, going to Pop maybe even. Like, Pop's a long way away, very slow, but...
Yeah, that's unfortunate. The key is really, pun not intended, a very key item here because it opens up the marsh checks, it opens up the trap tiles in Northwest if you just need those levels or gear or whatever.
Yeah, even possibly the Dwarf Cave, getting the armory out of there.
Right, and Corneria Castle even.
Yes, this is tough. I'm not sure you could even kill... You can kill Astos in this position, aside from a 3 out of 256 Bane.
Well, the fighter was getting mid-20s on their swing, so if you fog it up, perhaps, there's the chance. 2 hits 84, that's reasonable. Astos could go down in 2 or 3 of those.
Bane 10% versus Astos. I've learned something today.
I mean, purely empirical data here, Bane is 0% on Astos.
I believe it.
Astos with literally everything.
Yeah, so LifeReboot checking Marsh Top. This is a desperation play. But a couple thousand gold. Better than nothing. It puts them 1/3 of the way towards the key.
It's not the worst, but that 1/3 is still... That 2/3 is still very, very far.
Okay, I'm all in on Pop here. If I was one of these players, I'd be doing a Pop grind.
See, I don't know that you have the resources for a Pop, but I think with Bane, you might be able to get away with outside of Crescent.
Good one.
Also lets you make the... Well, I guess you already know where the key item is, but lets you make the check on level 6 magic in case there's something for that black mage to aspire to.
Pickles and Beer running away. Let's see what he does. He's got 5 different options open to them, and they're all bad.
Both runners at this point also have to be feeling really worried. Like, did my opponent get a lucky Astos fight, and now they're 5 minutes ahead of me? And then we're going to start to see some of the desperation plays really pan out.
Yeah, I know neither of the runners checked Matoya's Cave. Possibility there could have been something worth swinging or worth casting in there. And LifeReboot in the same position that Pickles and Beer was in, abandoning the only place he has to go right now. Oh, here's one for Pickles and Beer.
Going there you go, Earth Cave. That's always on my list, and that's actually how I got through a crazy marsh the other night myself, and it felt really bad, but it works. It's just so not ideal.
Yeah, Earth was right out of my mind, because without Rod, I just don't even think about Earth in this flag set. This is a very good play. You get 5 easy chests and 3 trap tiles. Well, if you can get some lucky Banes on these dogs here.
That'll be good enough.
We were some levels if you can take this giant down. This giant could have 600-700 hit points.
Fortunately, not that many. That's huge.
Yeah,
just take that maybe like 2 or 3 more times.
That was 3 levels. But might as well check for an eye, see if you get a better tile. This fight actually might be better because baning the wolves is possible. We know they have a script, but we can just hope it's not very good. No, it's a good script.
Feels a little bad that the fighter doesn't get the experience on that one, but if the black mage can get out of here...
It looks like no one's going to get the experience on this one. Oh, warp out.
Oh, there we go. And we have 2 level 4 charges. That'll be enough for lit 3s if he decides that that's something he's going to want. Maybe he's just going to want to stock up on black magic. Is this... Oh, a dragon sword. That's decent.
This is alright. With a lucky lit 3, you could probably take Astos down.
And now you have something where a thief can wield a dragon sword, yeah?
Yes, I believe so. So this should be a doable Astos fight at this point. As soon as he gets his whole party back up. LifeReboot, back to baning pirates.
So in the position of our runners, do you want to see this TNT then turn into a canoe or into the rod? Or I guess it could be the ruby. I think the ruby would be the ideal turn in here.
Yeah, ruby would be the easiest. Get you the most key items. Get you the biggest key item experience bonus. Is the easiest dungeon to do. Titan's Cave. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see the canoe here.
I wonder when you guys are going to put Titan as a boss for us.
Yeah, fight the Titan. Would you still need the ruby, though?
I think so. You give it to him and then he betrays you.
So I was thinking it could be, if you have the ruby, he lets you pass, or you can fight him without the ruby.
Pretty much I'm just down for getting extra bosses in here. But I'm sorry, I did cut you off on your canoe question. What were you going with on that one?
Oh, the canoe just opens up so many new possibilities. It opens up Ordeals, Ice, and Volcano. And I think Ordeals would be very easy right here.
Yeah, no, I 100% Ordeals if the canoe is what the TNT is giving us.
But the other 2 dungeons could be kind of tough. I guess Ice Cave would be pretty easy as well if you can get a good hero run in.
I'm not sure that you want to necessarily warp back out of Ice Cave, unless you have enough charges that you can completely warp, but there's still enough treasure in there that in a fighter-thief party, we probably want to be exploring it.
There we go. The first boss of the game, Astos down.
Kind of trivialized it with just a handful of extra levels.
Now here's a fun thing. As the crow flies, you're about 12 steps away from Dwarf Cave, but you have to go all the way around without the canoe.
You know, I'm so glad you use that expression. I catch such flack for it in my real life when I use it there. They ask me if I'm like 80 years old or something.
Oh, I might be 80 years old, I'm not sure.
I don't believe it. You sound not a day over 70.
There we go, LifeReboot. Defeating Astos just a minute behind Pickles. Gonna have to make the trek as well. Okay, now I'm starting to think that I want to see Canoe here just because it would be enjoyable for me. We can get these guys racing for an hour and 10.
Going back to Elfland, feels really bad to have to walk all the way down to the TNT Dwarf and not have the key there. And know exactly where it is.
This might have been a small mistake by LifeReboot as well, parking on the outside dock, knowing that the TNT was going to be the next turn in. Little mistake like that costs you 10 seconds. We've seen races in this very tournament decided by 6 seconds.
It's so interesting to me that as the tournament draws to a close, how you see the meta has shifted so much in what started out as like a 90-minute flag set and is now, we're talking 45, 50 minutes. And there is our canoe that you were hoping for. But now we're in Elfland. do we stay in the inner sea at this point?
I would go to ordeals. Ordeals with the canoe is so much easier than ordeals with the airship. So you want to do it with ordeals with the boat instead of the airship. So I would definitely do ordeals here. And then ice, and then volcano. I want to stay away from volcano for as long as possible.
It seems like Pickles is going to go to Ice Cave via the Provoca dock, or the one just south of Provoca. Oh, nope, turning around. There we go, changing mind. Yeah, having the warps really helps. I haven't quite yet mapped out the encounter table to know if this is one of those really safe plays or if it's just kind of safe because you have warp and you can figure it out.
LifeReboot's spending a lot of time killing pirates. He wants money, apparently.
Yeah, it doesn't want to leave without that key, I think.
Pickles and Beer getting a very short, very lucky ordeals.
Is this even randomized? A nightmare tile? I think we have to take these mummies, right? Yeah. Now, I know it's not something that that we're super going out of our way for, but are you looking at trap tiles at this point with a fighter party this late into the game and you're going, I'm level 8, it's 21 minutes, I feel behind. Are you trying to gain your levels as you go, or do you want to just like punch through, gain a couple of levels, and then take that trek?
I'm a big fan of finding trap tiles, even with fighter parties. Because you can take it a couple times, like at 4 or 5 levels. It allows you to just run through all the weak enemies for the rest of the game. There's a katana +2. That could be our endgame weapon. And floater.
And the floater.
Ordeals are a very good choice.
Yeah. Well, I like metal slimes here. That's the type of group that I probably would take a couple times. If we had Fire 3, it would be more ideal, but I think Lit 3 should be able to tear through them.
Lit 3 should. It depends on how many charges he had. He might have only had 1 charge of Lit 3 left. Which I wouldn't feel safe doing a metal slime with only 1 Lit 3.
So despite all the heartache, I mean, LifeReboot's only about a minute and a half behind Pickles here. This is still anybody's race. Usually by this point, you have a pretty clear-cut idea of who's going to be getting to Topher first, but it's looking pretty straightforward, and I'm curious to see if there's any divergence once they get to the air.
Yeah, the whole map just opened up here, so a lot of it's going to come down to who gets the luckiest choice of where to go first. Looks like Pickles and Beer is just going to hit up the easy checks first. He goes to Sarda, which has the ruby, which is very, very good. You're already here. You're close.
I have to imagine that both of them are going to go Sarda and then obviously into Titan as a result of that. From there, though, I think the only place you can go, right, is Waterfall.
You have Waterfall, Ice, and Volcano all open in front of us right now.
Yeah, so like I said, you can only really go to Waterfall. Obviously we can, but I don't feel like we're strong enough just yet to take out Carry. It feels bad to have to dive Volcano for that. I guess Ice Cave might be the next best choice there.
Yeah, if I was in this position, I'd do Ice Cave. We have lots of warps, which really helps us navigate the dungeon. We can check a couple trap tiles, check a couple boxes, and then hope to get strong enough in Ice Cave that we can go straight to Volcano. And it was the Ruse Stick in Titan's Trove, which is an incentivized item. Very good late game and boss fighting the gear. Like, we got a katana, we got a Ruse Stick. We're 1 ribbon away from having like the minimum required to beat the end game.
Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't blame either runner if they decided to do Cardia for a couple of quick checks. Because it's a little out of the way, right? Like, you're sacrificing probably about a minute there. But you're pretty much guaranteeing that you're about to buy a key or gear out your party.
Yeah, key required for beating the game. And every item that you pick up in this game, every key item you pick up in this game gives you 5% extra experience points. So it's very nice to get them as early as possible.
And also having seen the Roostic and already having the loot, it seems pretty likely that there's a good chance we're going to need to have the key to dig out and see Shrine. Or at least if you ever got to that point where you might have to, you'd rather dig out Sea Shrine than Sky.
Pickles and Beer picking up the Rod, which will unlock Earth Cave, and finding the Agama, who crits his black belt on the back line. So he's down a couple warp charges, and he's continuing in, so it looks like he might be going to the 6-pack room just to open boxes.
It always feels scary to do that, but he does know that that's the Rod, and so push comes to shove. If something goes wrong here, we know that we can just walk back in, warp out.
Yeah, in this position, I might have just tried to take that Agama a couple times, and relied on levels instead of relying on gear. And LifeReboot doing the Shumbabi play, going to Cardia, and finds a ribbon.
Rewarded instantly. I feel vindicated.
This could be a game changer. Let's hope we get some money as well. Not a lot of money, but that ribbon's nice. You could even sell the ribbon if you really want.
Excal -1 on Pickle's side. So there's our endgame weapon for the fighter as well.
Oh, an Invis 2 staff. Yeah, this is looking like we might have enough gear just leaving. If you just do Cardia and Ice Cave, you might have enough gear for the entire game.
So Pickle's almost certainly going to take on Lich at this point.
It's either that or try carry. You have an Invis 2 staff, you have a Ruse stick, you have an Ice 2 sword. We have Temper at level... Or no, we have Fast at level 4. This is definitely a possible fight. I don't think I'd want to try it without the Invis 2 staff and the Ruse stick, though.
Carry is deceptively strong. And even in the low teens, I'm not convinced that I want to make an effort that I don't know will 100% work here. Especially feeling as far behind as our runners probably do. Also knowing that you're going to have to come back to Crescent after you fight Lich anyway, so you're already going to be in the area for Volcano. Might as well take that one extra step and try to find something else that's going to help you. For example, if our sages have the tail, right? Like now we have a katana that we can wield for carry.
And we just picked up in the armory an Opal Cheerio and the Vorpal +3. And a Vorpal +3 is a very powerful sword, assuming you can wield it. We'll need class change for that, though.
I see 32 people in chat, and I am going to assume that about 20 of them are going, yeah, a Vorpal +3 is really good for throwing out. But it actually is a good sword.
It's going to be better than the Excal -1 on the Topher and Boss Fiends. I don't think we've seen Temper yet. Actually, we do know where Temper is, because the Black Mage has the Malice no Temper level 5. So the Red Mage should be able to learn that either pre or post class change. So we'll learn at one of those.
Pickle's doing a lot of searching on Agama floor. I haven't seen many people make these checks.
It looks like he's doing this instead of going to Cardia. He still hasn't bought his key yet. Whereas LifeReboot went to Cardia, got his ribbon, got his key. So let's see how far down LifeReboot goes. He's just gonna warp out.
Yeah, not at all.
He misses
That's unfortunate.
Misses the X-Cal, misses the Invis 2-stick. But
Oh.
he's got a ribbon.
And Pickles picks up the Masa 3.
This was a good floor to check.
This feels a little bad because it's still... both players made checks that, in the context of the rest of this tournament, I don't know that people are really checking this. A lot of this feels like desperation play, or just, I don't know what I'm doing, and while I'm processing what I'm doing, I'm just going to start autopiloting these checks. And it's working out for both of our runners in very different ways, and I'm curious to see how that plays into the end game.
Yeah, I've never checked Cardia in this flag set, and I've never checked the Agma Flora, I don't believe.
I have checked it myself once, and I've seen Life check it now once, and both times ribbons were there. So, again, empirical data, 100% of the time you check Cardia, there's a ribbon. Oh my goodness, and Life with the fast sword. That's huge.
Are they playing the same flag set that I ran like last week? Because I don't remember finding any of this stuff when I played this flag set.
Well, you have to open a ton of boxes to find these things.
Good point.
God, I love the fun percent name changes that we have with our good friend Kelly. Not too strong this time, so Pickles and Beer, even without the Masa, probably wouldn't have been in trouble here.
Very easy carry.
The more this goes on, the more I'm feeling like if I'm in Pickles' shoes, I'd be going, okay, I don't really need to be checking so much. I have my endgame gear, but it feels really bad to not have a ribbon. And LifeReboot is going, it feels really bad not to have a weapon. But I think in both of those cases, like, Pickles is liable to start skipping out on boxes and hope for a good Topher, and I think LifeReboot is still going to be looking around a little bit more. So that might cause some time burn.
Yeah, because LifeReboot is missing the X-Cal, missing the Katana, missing the Vorpal, and missing the Masa. Yeah, so Pickles has 4 swords. Question in chat, there's no Earth incentive. Earth is sneaky incentivized. You have to kill Lich for the Sages to give you their incentive item. So it's a way of incentivizing the Earth Cave. LifeReboot continuing to make checks.
Finding a lot of status elemental gear between the hold and the sleep, but you're never really going to use it, and it would be good for selling purposes, but he already has the key. But Pickles skipping the chest with the fast sword, that is going to hurt, because that would free up well, I guess I was going to say it frees up a temper, but realistically the Black Mage is going to wind up being a fast caster, because it can't cast the temper.
Yeah, and the Red Mage in the Seed can't cast fast. So we have a single fast caster. Now, Classic Gamer in chat, would you put the Masa on the fighter or the Vorpal on the fighter?
Oh no, +3, I'm putting the Masamune on the fighter. And I suppose I would put the Vorpal on the Red Mage as a backup plan, but certainly not the other way around. The fighter's inherent strength is going to let the Masa kind of pull through, I think. I don't want to have to temper up a Vorpal and then risk my one temper caster dying.
When just checking our notes here, the Life 1 is Red Wizard learnable in level 4 magic. So it's possible that the Red Wizard solo like Fiend Killer is a possibility here because you can res the party after. But it's a good idea to throw a sword on the Red Wizard.
I'm never going to argue against outfitting an extra party member like a Red Wizard, but I'm also not going to advocate for giving it your best gear. I don't know that that's ever going to be the case. And by the only time that I would consider maybe swapping the Vorpal over would be Chaos, and again, I'm kind of worried about that solo temper cast.
And LifeReboot, first one into Crescent Lake. Let's see what he picks up here. Cube. Necessary for beating the game, but not useful right now.
So Pickles picked up the slab in Volcano, right? That's why LifeReboot doesn't have it yet?
Yes, Pickles picked it up and translated, but hasn't turned it in. Doing the proximity play of Lich first.
Makes sense. So we'll go Sages, we'll go down to Lefane, we'll see what's up. LifeReboot finds an eye in Volcano because that's a nice spot for it.
This could be a big one because Pickles and Beer didn't check the vanilla fire tile here in Volcano. So he doesn't know that the eye is here, whereas LifeReboot does.
I think Pickles has a willingness to go into Topher at around 19 here, right? Like with a Masa 3, a Fast, and a Tempercaster, it's definitely possible. This fighter already has enough health that it wouldn't be outrageous. It's not a feels good, but Pickles can just pick up a couple levels in Sea and Sky, and it wouldn't be the end of the world for him.
Yeah, I think if you had Tass like luck, you could probably beat Topher at about level 16. I wouldn't ever try it below level 19. But I mean, LifeReboot could just, pull himself close to 24 here and have a very easy time in Topher.
It's really hard with a Katana and a Masa to not convince yourself to go for that extra hit, just in case. It's the difference between I know I can make it if everything rolls right and I can, force myself to win right away. Ooh, poison on the eye. That's actually really nice for getting the experience where you want it.
Yeah, assuming it doesn't cast it again, that was very nice. Okay, so LifeReboot's going to pick up his Katana here. Or no, this is the Vorpal and the Opal Cheerio. See if he picks up the Massa. He's been opening a lot of boxes. It's possible that he finds that Massa. Yeah, I noticed Pickles and Beer, after buying the key, went and looted the Elf Armory. But if I was in his position, I might just stop opening boxes at this point.
He's not comfortable without a ribbon here on this party, I think. Especially if the Red Wizard is the only one that can learn life. I don't know if we've seen Wall or if it's even red learnable in this seed, but it feels really precarious when you have to go speed and power, but then you've also committed to not necessarily taking your levels so high that you can just brute force your way through a first turn instant kill.
At this point, my plan would be just to try and get lucky, and if I got unlucky in Topher, reset and try again. Since we do have the short Topher on this time. But also,
how many times do you do that, though?
But also, I'm not in this tournament anymore.
Right, at what point do you say, this wasn't just unlucky, I would have been way luckier had I had 2 more levels, or had I had the proper resistance? And, what does that mean for if you decide to leave, where you wind up going? So we're hoping to find a ribbon here. No
Slab,
such luck.
bottle, crystal, chime. Take that chime in the cube, and we're going to Sky.
So do we go to Sky, or do we go to Waterfall and hope for an Oxyel? Because I do not want to be digging out Sky if I'm not needing to open a ton of boxes.
Well, do you know what? Pickles and Beer probably wants to open the boxes in Sky. He wants to open the boxes, and he wants to get in all the nice EXP fights in Sky. Now this is dangerous. In this flag set, Sky is very tough, just since it's filled with so many scripts. Like you never know when something's just gonna hit you with a nuke or hit you with a damage poison out of nowhere. Especially going in without a ribbon and at such low levels.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There is just one nuke in the pool, right?
Yes, one nuke in the pool, and it could be at anywhere between slot 1 and 8 in a spell list. And LifeReboot, I didn't see what took him down, but something took down his mages. Now he's going to have to solo fighter versus carry.
And does not appear to have the Masamune.
No, he's got the Ruse, but no Masamune.
Dragon Armor definitely welcome.
And Cure Bonk plus, or Cure 3 Bonk. That could do some work. A Ruse Stick and a Cure 3 Bonk could solo Topher for you.
It feels bad when you have to resort to the Cure 3 strats, but like when they come through big time. Looks like that Ruse and Fast strategy pays off for LifeReboot here. Soloing carry and getting level 17 on that fighter. I think I take the eye at this point, right? Like, you've got a solo fighter.
This is a very smart play. You let the volcano kill off your party members to make your grind easier. If his plan is to go into, and Pickles find the Oxyel on the first floor of Sky, so he doesn't have to open. He's not forced to open many more boxes. I bet he still opens some though.
Probably the 4 greed checks. Maybe. Yeah, maybe you get north and east here because you have Charge of Warp.
If LifeReboot knows his breakpoints, the Ice Sword +2 hits its 5th hit at level 31. So you could just treat this fighter like a black belt and take it to 31 for your 5 hits, and then don't open any more boxes for the rest of the season.
My strategy in that case tends to be I don't know the breakpoints on weapons other than like baseline legendary gear, so just take it until the eye gets hit 5 times. It looks like it's not really evasive.
Okay, Ice Sword's easy. It's 9 levels more than the Mesa.
That would be a 33, but the +2 would bring it down, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Yeah, this fighter is going to steamroll through the rest of the seed here. That's going to be a very scary fighter.
And we'll see. So LifeReboot has to take this slab, go raise his party back up, translate the slab, turn in the bottle, turn in the crystal, and do half of a Sky Cave. So that's how far he is behind right now. So will this fighter make up that time? There's a possibility that it does if we have some nasty boss fights. LifeReboot going to 29, so a couple levels short of 5 hits, but he might be able to get that just with walking grind through the last 2 dungeons.
Now, another question. If you're in Pickles' shoes, you just found the Oxyel here, right? You know that there's 2 items left in the pool. You've got your incentive gear item, which you probably don't want, and then you've got your tail. Are you going to Waterfall first, guaranteeing those 6 checks in addition to the robot, and then just having to deal with maybe I'm going to the locked room and Sea Shrine, or are you just going to Sea Shrine and finishing this game and being like, well, I hope it's in Sharknado on the way or something?
I would do Sea Shrine first here. Just because you have warp, so it's very easy to check TFC. And I mean, Pickles and Beer is right now looking for a ribbon. So there's 3 of them in the game and like 200 some odd chests. So you're less than 2% chance on any chest to have it be what you're looking for. So it seems to me that opening boxes here might not even be worthwhile for Pickles and Beer.
So I guess that answers the second part of my question is there ever a time where you see him going mermaids? Skipping waterfall, going mermaids?
Well, I wouldn't, but it depends on how far behind he feels and how weak he feels. Like I think this party is actually pretty powerful.
While it's standing, I will grant you that it's a powerful party. I think he is definitely concerned that it's not going to be. I was going to say, it seems so odd to me that we have LifeReboot leaving that thief down in stone, not collecting any XP. But he hasn't found that Katana +2, right?
I don't think he did. I don't recall where that was, but I don't think he found that. Or maybe he just never bought softs.
Oh, that was in Ordeals, I think, actually.
Yeah, he just didn't have any softs.
Okay, so Saberhammer, that's not the worst for item magic to find.
No, that might be the second best item magic you could find. I think a temper bonk would have been better. But now you have Saber, you have Ruse. I mean, if he had a ribbon, this would be an easy level 19 dive. Now, does he go and fish out the tail?
Oh, absolutely. He's got the Katana +2. He's got the X-Cal, the Vorpal 3. He needs that tail. I mean, you're committing a minute for... And the Dragon Armor, you've got everything is kind of hinging on this tail. There's no way he doesn't take this.
And the life cast, if he remembers it, on the Red Wizard.
Well, he'll remember it after the first Topher wipe, I imagine.
It's a possibility that LifeReboot doesn't have the Katana, doesn't have the X-Cal, or he does have the Vorpal, but he might just skip it. It's a possibility he skips both the last 2 incentives and doesn't get the tail, which could save him a lot of time.
I mean, what are we talking about total between Waterfall and then checking TFC? That can't be more than 2 minutes with Warp and a party of his caliber.
Yeah,
right?
Probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
I feel like if he went through the trouble to commit that fighter to a high level and say, you know what, I'm probably a little behind, let me make sure that I'm winning this game when I go in, you take the extra minute and just kind of safeguard that. But I don't know. I really don't. It's so stressful being in this position when you know that early game was as rough as it is, and yet you're still seeing, I'm pretty much wrapping up the Fiends at 48 minutes, right? So like this is an insanely jet seed otherwise. Because we have to consider, like, if we would have just been able to take out that Astos at the 5.5, 6 minute mark back when we saw it, we're talking about a 43-minute Kraken, and both parties are definitely well within the level range of Topher.
And LifeReboot makes the lucky correct side check first. Yeah, and he's out. Doesn't even open the box that he's standing right next to.
Way to go, Thief, with that 4 hit, 70 damage, taking out Kraken just over the threshold. And of course, the fight that follows Kraken's Orb. I feel like that spot gets a lot of people.
What was this Thief swinging there? Did he have a saber?
I believe it has the Dragon Sword equipped.
The Dragon Sword, that's right. Fighters with damage poison. At least we know that LifeReboot has plenty of sauce. Yes, Pickles and Beer did get the tail. It was in TFC. That's it. Aside from a ribbon, he's cleared the entire game.
I am really liking all of his gear, with the exception of not having a ribbon. That fighter, though, probably can get away with not needing one. I mean, the only thing we're really concerned about there is Zap and Bane, right? Time and Poison is still going to get through those resistances.
He's not quite ready yet. He's going for life? Maybe.
I think stocking up on heal potions and maybe checking Corneria for a last-minute ribbon. Hope is remembering to purchase life. That's good. But every moment he spends filling out all of his checklist, that's another moment that LifeReboot just creeps closer to Topher.
Yeah, and my guess is LifeReboot skips the last 2 incentives and just tries to get to Topher as fast as possible. So he's probably got, maybe 1 deep wipe from Pickles to catch up. Pickles and Beer is going to have maybe a couple tries here.
Rewarded with the Greed Chest and Topher. That is the one thing he needed.
Throw the Vorpal on the Red Mage. Put the ribbon on him. You're good to go. This still isn't going to be an easy Topher though. Party is quite low level.
Alright, and here we go. Speed bump. Lich 2. Opening up. Katana hits for 219. Fire 3 comes out. 52. Now we're up to 271. And 499. That's going to be more than enough to do it.
Yeah, Massa plus 3 is pretty good.
Strategy changes a little bit for Kelly here. Fast coming out, but 5 hits 102 on the ninja was nothing. Kelly is hitting like a wet noodle here. So hopefully LifeReboot, for any chance, needs to not see a script on either of those 2 fiends. Kraken a little evasive and a little absorbent, but also not hitting so hard on that fighter. Fighter's very well equipped, though, but doesn't have a chance to get hit again. 2 bosses away from clinching a spot in the semifinals.
On the Red Mage waiting here, saving his tempers.
So this Tiamat is evasive. That was only about half as many hits as you'd expect to land. Stun coming out, no Cure 3 to raise him. How do we handle this? I think I throw out a Bane here. I think I do the cheeky Bane strats.
Well, if he's got the Vorpal on his Red Mage, you might try and fast him. Okay, he's using up the Red Mage. He's preparing for a long fight. each turn it's a 25% random chance for someone to come out of stun, and sometimes it seems like it's a 0% chance. Wow, weak Tia.
Wow, that is a very thin Tia. I was very fortunate, and it was a very heads-up play on Pickles to just start throwing out damage and saying, you know what, we got to get this down somehow, and lucked out that this was one of the low rolls. If Pickles wipes here, still has probably 30 seconds to a minute on LifeReboot. Getting into Topher, so might have a third chance if necessary, but we don't really want to see that if we're Pickles. Some buffing comes out, 2 hits, 2 damage.
Yeah, the thing he doesn't want to see here is fast, or a Zap or Bane. Punch is fine.
It was a heavy punch, but the red mage really only has 2 turns left anyway. We're going to fast the ninja also to get the katana doing katana things. Oh, the black wizard can take a hit. 4 hits coming out of the fighter? That's not good.
Yeah, Pickles does have lock on the black mage.
Yeah, definitely need to get chaos, less evasion. Ooh, my hand would have been hovering over that done button with a 900 hit point hit. There we go. 8 hits, 1457. GG's in chat for Pickles and Beer.
That's good. That a level 20 Topher made it look easy.
When you got a lot of gear that rolls up like that, it's not as hard as it could be. But that Topher also very kind to a low-level runner.
Yeah, did we even see a single spell? Oh, we saw stop. And other than that, we just saw noodle punches.
Unfortunately, everything targeted players that had just enough health to survive it and the appropriate amount of armor, not even really needing that ribbon. And yeah, that was a very nice finish there by Pickles and Beer. Let's see if he can hop in the booth and join us.
Hello, Pickles. GG.
Hey, thank you.
Good game, sir. So, how did that feel with that Astos being what it was, and like, how did that inform the rest of your game?
Oh, felt terrible. After bouncing a couple times, like, you know what? We need to go get a few levels, see if we can get... I couldn't remember what was at level 4. I finally remembered that Lit 3 was there. Yeah, just needed to get some levels. I was pretty certain that was progression at that point.
Yeah,
except for the fact that I guess I could have gone down to ordeals.
You didn't have the canoe at that point. Astos
right.
was the roadblock.
That's right.
The only thing you could do. Yeah, but
Yep.
it was very smart going to Earth. We didn't even think about that in the booth. I was saying go to Pop, but you found a much better plan.
Yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, and I did. I forgot now, but yeah, I did remember that ordeals is not on the table then. I'm like, well, I got Earth, and I've got just whatever's around Elfland to get a few levels to get some charges or get an extra hit on the fighter.
Ew, nuclear coming out of Kraken, poison damage coming out of Kraken, things that we didn't see on your screen, courtesy of what a brilliant check for the Masamune. I've never seen somebody check that Agama chest in that floor as thoroughly as you have.
At that point, I don't like double dipping Volcano. I did not have much. My win condition on carry was quite sketchy. And I pulled that sword out of that chest in a practice before this even started, and said, you know what, there's 5 chests in there, let's just go see what's in there.
how comfortable were you going into Topher without the ribbon? I know you made the checks for the ribbon, lucked out that there was one there. Were you confident on your ability to get through if you didn't have one?
Not really. That party at that level without wall, if any of those Bane Zap, anything like that comes out, it's pretty much a done deal. So yeah, I wasn't gonna go like super out of the way. If there was not one in the Topher chest, I was just gonna go for it.
Well, here we have LifeReboot just going for it with a single night taken up to, what is it, low 30s at this point?
Yeah, it looks like he's just below the threshold for 5 hits.
So is equipped with that Vorpal +3. That fast sword is going to come in handy with the Ruse Stick also. We know that Chaos is a little evasive, but also we didn't see much come out of Chaos. So 3 Ruses and a fast should do it here. Oh, never mind. There's Nuke in the script. We've got like 8 turns, right?
I believe LifeReboot does have the Cure 3 bonk if he equipped it to the fighter. Could be useful here, but it looks like he's just going for damage. Trying to find a loop.
We found one before on Kraken. I don't know that we're going to find it again.
And an easy solo chaos.
Wow. Way to go, LifeReboot. Good game.
GG Life.
Good game, LifeReboot.
GG.
Hello. Congrats, Pickles.
Thank you.
How about that Astos?
Yeah, how many times did you bounce off of him?
Well, I went in once, and I thought, okay, let's try Bane. Let's try X for Bane. Let's try Melee. And then, like, I walked away from him, and I'm like, wait, I think this might be progression. And I went back, and then it didn't work. And I'm like, no, let's go down to Ordeals. And I bounced off of the river there because I didn't have Canoe. And I was like, back to Astos. It was really rough.
Yeah, my
was
experience
very
was
frazzled.
Yeah, my experience was similar. I did not grab X for that. Probably I didn't even notice it.
In fairness, I believe that coming out of Astos, LifeReboot, you were only about a minute and a half behind, I think, despite all of the shenanigans that both of you wound up doing in order to prepare for it. So it was actually an incredibly close race the entire time. I'm curious from your perspective as well. Do you feel at that point, oh, he must be bumping into the same stuff, I'm not that far behind? Or do you feel like, oh no, he's probably lucked through Astos, I'm now 10 minutes behind, what do I do?
Thinking about other races that we've done, I imagine that Pickles and Beer would probably go check the chests in Matoya to see if they could get a lucky gold chest for getting that very expensive key. And I didn't make that check. So, like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is there something like he was able to sell and save all this time to raising this money? I found a ribbon in Cardia clearing it, so I wasn't too upset. But I did catch the end of the game there where Pickles found a ribbon as well. But I guess to answer your question, I felt behind the entire time. Just the early game was so rough, it left me frazzled for the rest.
Did that lead you to making choices that you weren't planning on making in this race against Pickles?
It's difficult to say. I tend to chase the key items. For whatever reason, I did decide to go into Sky before Waterfall, where I think in most circumstances, if I feel like I'm on pace, I would probably do the Waterfall check first, because I don't want to open all those Sky boxes, but I got really lucky with the Oxyel find, so maybe it pivoted me in the right direction.
if you hadn't felt behind, would you have dug out the tail at that point? Was that something that you really wanted, or with your fighter having the levels that it did, because you found that eye tile in Volcano Pickles, you opened up all the chests and you completely skipped the fact that there was some free XP there. So having that high 20s, low 30s fighter, does that disincentivize you from promotion, or was it strictly I feel behind, so I'm not getting this tail?
I thought that I could be okay, but if you saw the damage that I was doing with that ice sword with like a level 29 plus fighter, I was hitting for 17 against some bosses, and it's like, well, I clearly have to promote, so I was gonna dig out the tail, and I did.
Bane against Astos is actually a 9% chance to work.
Yeah,
So
I've
there's
done it
all,
before, so I'm like, I know this can work, but it just
and
what not
neither of
today.
you. There's quite a few Banes shot out at Astos today, but neither of them worked. That could have been another thing to try, is just keep resetting over and over again, baning Astos.
Yeah, it felt really slow. Pickles, where was Massa?
That was on the Agama Armory. It was the Agama Armory floor, the 5-pack, the one behind the trap tile.
Interesting. I
Yep.
don't think I've ever checked that chest on each side.
I did not see. Apparently, the eye tile was on the Gurworm tile.
It was on the
fire
fire
tile.
tile.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't see that, and I didn't have the levels or gear, so I checked more chests, and apparently it paid off pretty well. There's a Invis 2 item there too, but I never ended up using it.
I believe that was in Ice Cave. LifeReboot just warped back out of Ice Cave, missed the X-Cal and the Invis 2 staff.
Oh, it was the Quad X stick, was right beside the Massa.
Yeah, you both found a lot of gear that the opponent did not, and they both served you in very different but beneficial ways, really. I'm not sure that I could say that one person's gear check over the other was drastically different in this. There was a slight lead coming out of Astos, as I mentioned, and then I suppose that having the Masamune did confer a slight bit more advantage going into Topher, but on the whole, very, very close race.
Yeah, it seemed like my Topher was a lot different than Pickles' Topher. Just saying. But I wish you well in the rest of brackets. We've played a lot of pickup races over the years here, and it's always a coin toss as to who's going to win. I'm glad that you're moving on. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, speaking of moving on, how do you feel about having to face Chan again in the next round?
I don't feel good about any of the people that are in the next round, so yeah, Shanigan's good, and he's a risk taker, so maybe I'll yeah, he's likely to make it to Topher. If we take the same route, he'll probably be there slightly before me, so, and probably pretty risky, so maybe I'll make a couple extra checks, hope for some advantage.
Well, if Chanigan's going to go for a level 16 Topher, just means you have to go for a level 15 Topher.
If I had a ribbon early on, I would have had several levels left because I would have stopped looking for stuff. Although, the Red Mage being the only one with temper and only having a couple of casts really didn't feel good either with this party.
And LifeReboot did, or no, you found the Saber Hammer.
Yep, wanted a ribbon. The only reason I went there, I wanted the tail too, and there's 6 chests, and figure 6 chests right there with that run off the hard reset. Figure there's an okay chance for a ribbon, and if it's a tail or maybe something decent from the Thor hammer, and lucked out with that Saber hammer. Only used it once, but was still nice to have.
Yeah, with the way things were going, it was definitely a possibility to skip the last two incentives. Save yourself maybe 4 minutes. Not required here, but
It was. I the whole time after I left Sky, I was like, do I go to Waterfall or do I just power through this thing? And I felt okay. I knew Astos had the chance of being a hold up, and going to Ordeals before I went to the volcano or ice and getting that floater before that felt decent. So I felt okay, but I really wanted that ribbon.
I think it's about time we wrapped up here. Let everyone get on with the rest of their night. So I'm going to send it to LifeReboot for final thoughts.
Thank you to all the volunteers to make this possible. If you like what you see, FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, join our Discord. Great community. Congrats again.
And Pickles.
Thank you as well. Yeah, same thing. Thanks to everyone who puts all this on. I know you all put a lot of work into this so that we can watch these races, and it's much appreciated.
Shun Bobby, last word to you.
Last words. Oh no, I don't want to close this out. I'll give you that honor, but thank you, Bert, for having me in the comms booth with you. I don't really get a chance to hang out with you, so this was a pleasure this evening. Pickles and LifeReboot, thank you for putting on quite the show. Definitely worth commentating. It was a well-run race from both of you, and very much enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy watching this back. ADR, thank you for the restream, and I believe Math Girl was tracking for us, so thank you to that, to her for that. And yeah, Final Fantasy Randomizer, come join the Discord. Love to have you in the community. Thank you all for watching.
We don't have any of the round of 4 races scheduled yet, so just keep your eye on the Discord, and we'll try and get as many broadcasts as we can. There's very few races left in this tournament. And good night.